Thank you for the introduction, Martin, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to share some insights from my master's research at Karolinska Institutet, where I choose to explore the global orphan drug market. And in this broadcast, I'll take you through why it matters so much for the patients and why it has become such an important focus for pharma and investors. Now, let's begin with some fundamentals to understand the market. Orphan drugs, per definition, are medicines that develop specifically for rare diseases. However, the definition of rare depends on geography. In the US, that means conditions affecting fewer than 200,000 patients, while in the EU, the threshold is fewer than 5 in 10,000 people. Now, traditionally, medicines have been developed for millions, even billions of patients worldwide, while orphan drugs focus on much smaller patient groups. And within this space, there's even a narrower category of ultra-orphan diseases, which are affecting fewer than 6,000 patients. However, there's also some unofficial definitions. And these very small populations are explained by the nature of their conditions. They're usually very severe, life-threatening diseases with no existing treatment options, representing an area of high unmet medical need. However, regulators have responded. Today, FDA reports that over half of the newly approved medicines are exactly orphan drugs. But despite this progress, it is known that almost less than 5% of rare diseases have an improved treatment, which creates urgency for patients and families who have no therapeutic options, while at the same time fueling fierce competition among companies, since being first to market often means years of exclusivity, premium pricing, and dominance in high-value niche. And this urgency competitions are reflected directly into the market explosive growth. In 2024, the orphan drug market has reached $195.2 billion globally, which is already accounting for 12% of all prescription sales. And this market is also highly concentrated in the United States, where it has generated more than 60% of the sales, followed by Europe and the rest of the world. But what truly sets apart the orphan drugs is their momentum. While the broader pharmaceutical industry grows at around 5 to 6%, orphan drugs are expanding double that to 10 to 12% annually, which is twice the speed of the overall market. And this means that companies and investors that are active in the rare disease are positioned at the very center of the most dynamic growth in the global healthcare. And this extraordinary growth is not accidental. It's built on sets of unique incentives. It begins with speed, reaching the patient sooner, because patients can't afford to wait. Orphan drugs are often moved through development faster, typically reaching the market in about 5 years compared to a decade or more for common diseases. And once approved, companies are rewarded with long market exclusivity, 7 years in the US and 10 in Europe, and protection provides stable, predictable revenue. And third, the FDA has built an entire support system around orphan drugs with dedicated review units and accelerated designations like fast track and priority review and waived fees. And finally, there's a strong legislative backing. Well, since the early 80s and the establishment of the Orphan Drug Act has changed a lot in this market. However, even fast forward to today in 2025, new rules in the big, beautiful bill in the US have now even exempt orphan drugs from Medicare price negotiations. And exactly this combination of incentives has drawn big pharma deeply into the orphan space, where more than half of all orphan revenues come from just 10 companies. Well, typically Roche leading with the field in oncology, Novartis shaping rare diseases with its gene therapy and strong hematology franchise, and of course, Pfizer and Johnson heavily invested, making rare diseases part of their core business. For these companies, often already represent around 20% of the total sales, which is not a sideline, but a major growth driver. And the economics tell an important part of the story because orphan drugs serve such small patient groups. They rely on premium pricing, on average about 17 times higher than other medicines. But it's not only big pharma that sees the value. This market is also of great interest to investors. And in the Nordics already, investors' role has been especially decisive in shaping some success stories. In my research, I had the opportunity to interview HealthCap, a leading life science investment company. Over the years, they have invested about 120 on the upper range of $123 million across 8 orphan drug companies, creating some of the Nordics' most valuable rare disease assets. I choose a powerful example of Wilson Therapeutics, a Swedish biotech developing a treatment for a Wilson's disease, which is an ultra-rare condition, because it's affecting only 10 to 30,000 patients worldwide. And despite serving such a small population, the therapy addresses a life-threatening unmet medical need. And within just 6 years, the company was acquired for the staggering $855 million by Alexion, which also shows a scenario of investing in ultra-rare condition, having a shorter timeline in return. And in one of my conversations with HealthCap partner, I shared something interesting during the interview, a perspective on the fact that regulatory exclusivity can be even a stronger driver for value, which gives smaller companies freedom to grow without immediate competition. And the same dynamics are no longer limited to rare diseases. They're now dragged to the next chapter of medicine as well, laying the foundation for precision medicine. Because rare diseases affect only very few patients, companies had no choice but to design therapies that are highly targeted, often to a specific genetic mutation. And in many ways, orphan drugs were the first true examples of precision medicine in practice. Of first targeted treatments, the technologies that grew out of orphan drug development and gene and cell therapies and antibody drug conjugates, RNA medicines, and all the data accumulated around it are now be applied to larger diseases. And what was once used for rare disorders is now transforming how we treat different conditions. Second is enhanced diagnostics. To find rare patients, the field advanced genomics, biomarker testing, and now using even AI-driven diagnostics. And those same tools are enabling us to identify subgroups in much larger populations and match them with the right therapy. So, in other words, orphan framework has proven that targeted high-value treatments are possible, and today is becoming the blueprint for precision medicine across the entire healthcare system. And with that in mind, let me leave you with three key insights from my research. First, orphan drugs are the fastest growing segment in pharma currently, and that both pharma and investors are benefiting from the predictable value in this space. And thirdly, that they're shaping the future of precision medicine. I believe they will be seeing a lot of more investments and shifts in this area. So to conclude, my research in close collaboration with Martin Johnson at Alzecure Pharma resulted in comprehensive report, often from pharma report. And over the course of this research, I spoke with Swedish investors who have committed millions of dollars to building orphan drug companies, and with executives who have successfully brought these medicines to the US market, combined with regulatory and IP perspective. So to have a look at the full interview analysis and detailed findings captured in the report, I would welcome you to scan the code for downloading the full report or later available web link. And with that, thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward to discussing the Q&A session.